Walter Castro, who marched in Washington recently, came to the United States from El Salvador when he was 7 years old. He joined many lending support to President Obama, who supports immigration reform. Castro says there should be a legal path to citizenship for the estimated 11 to 12 million illegal immigrants living in the U.S.
What I do want to see happen is that they get legalized, even if they have to pay back taxes and they have to pay penalty fees.
Passage of immigration legislation remains in doubt because of strong opposition by mostly Republican lawmakers.
We do not need to be importing a massive, poverty-stricken, poorly educated welfare class.
Dan Stein, president of the Federation for American Immigration Reform, strongly opposes any measure that grants amnesty for illegal immigrants.
Nobody should be talking about an amnesty program for two reasons. One, it encourages more people to come illegally. Two, it discourages people who might have gone back home from doing so.
While Yesenia Salcido is a citizen, her mother is not and could face deportation to her native Mexico. Yesenia wants lawmakers to make good on years of promises to change the law.
The only opportunity is now. We can't wait later because families are going to get separated. People are going to get deported, and that's not fair.
Recent studies indicate the flow of illegal immigrants coming from Mexico to the U.S. has slowed slightly. Analysts say it's due in part to the economic downturn, tougher border enforcement, and an increase in workplace raids by police looking for illegals. But immigration reform advocates maintain a legal path to citizenship for undocumented workers will help boost the U.S. economy. Alicio Medina is vice president of the largest U.S. labor union of immigrant workers.
It's estimated that if we legalize the 12 million, that they will lead to a growth in our economy of $1.5 trillion. It is something that is good for everybody.
Janet Kephart with the Center for Immigration Studies in Washington disagrees. She says granting amnesty for millions of illegal immigrants will make it harder for Americans to find jobs.
If you granted amnesty to 11 million undocumented workers, you are flooding the market with the potential of those folks competing for jobs with Americans, folks who have broken the law, worked here illegally, probably a lot of them, and now seek to compete equally with Americans for jobs.
3 years ago, efforts to overhaul immigration failed despite massive protest rallies across the country by immigrant rights groups. But last month, 2 senators presented a plan that calls for illegal immigrants to pay back taxes and perform community service in order to gain legal status. It also calls for admitting temporary workers into the country in line with the demands of the economy. Democratic Congressman Charles Gonzalez from Texas says he's optimistic a reform bill can pass this year.
I don't want to get people's hopes up and then they get so profoundly disappointed. It's going to be tough, but nothing is impossible.
Political analysts say they doubt an immigration reform bill will be passed this year with congressional elections in November. But these immigration reform activists say they will not be deterred and will continue to rally to pressure the White House and Congress to overhaul the nation's immigration system. Chris Simkins, VOA News, Washington.